And what we're going to do now is we're going to stay on the theme of Key One, which is about the digital sales and marketing. Who would like to know how to grow a $5 million events company? Oh, hang on, just Diane, apparently. I'll ask again. Who would like to know how to grow a $5 million events company? Yes, thank you very much. Now, even if you only want to grow a $1 million events company or a $50,000 events company, we're going to share with you some amazing content and strategy. So again, at great expense, we have flown all the way in from Sydney, Jessica Blake, who is our global communications, marketing, and events manager. Give her a big round of applause.
Hello? Ooh, there we go. So, yes, I am the Global Marketing, Communications and Events Manager. I started with Roger back in March last year, so I have only been with the company for just over a year and a half. This is our personal compass, and we do this every quarter, and we go through, so this is part of our team charter, which lots of you will have seen. So I'm a supporter profile. I'm a blaze energy, not off the charts, but not quite as off the charts as Michelle. She definitely exceeds me on that. So this is me. I'll just explain a couple of these photos. So this is me up in Lake Tahoe. So thank you, Rose. Rose is here. I'm going to call on Rose in a little bit to talk about her story. And in Lithuania. So one of the most amazing parts about this job is obviously that I get to travel around the world and I get to go to a lot of our events as well. And now that I'm growing the team, my team also get to go. So we like to split it up so we all get to experience some of the really cool things that are part of this role. So I've come from corporate Sydney, going into an office every day, 9 to 5, and very grateful to Roger and his community to give the opportunity that we have to run events and to get out there and to live a nomadic lifestyle. Bit of a summary. So 2017, last year, the year I joined, we ran 8 events. They were our 4-day summits. This year we ran 26 events, and then next year we're going to double that again to 56 events. So really excited about the growth there. We ran a number with event hosts. So that was a new thing that we did start this year, Rose being one of those event hosts, and ran with both our Entrepreneur Fast Track series and our Global Entrepreneur Summit series. And next year, hoping to grow that to 12 event hosts. And one of the things that we will be discussing a little bit later as well. So last year went from 1 team member to 5 team members, and building that again to 7 or 8 team members next year. Went from 8 landing pages, and if anyone, who here has built website? Who here? So we went from 8 to 26 landing pages in a year, and then what? And then next to 56 landing pages. And the way that we could do that and do that growth is obviously through using the services team with GeniusU. Our revenue last year went from 4.2 million to not 5 million, Michelle, but 6.7 million. What? And we're growing that again to 8 million next year. Now, something that I guess that I've learned being in this role that I was never taught in corporate Sydney is last year I was a worker. I was at orange level and a worker. This year, well, I'm an octopus this year. I like to kind of call myself the juggler with all the different balls in the air that I've got. But next year, hopefully moving to solid player. So how did we grow? So I have this like 3-pronged approach that I call it, which is our way that we grow our events. And that's something that our event hosts that come with us and any of our mentors and things that come on this journey also learn. So the first thing that we do is partners. So I now have 1 really solid community manager and going out and finding another super solid community manager, and they not only greet all the people that sign up to our courses, but they also start relationships and communications with people to find out where they're at in their business and whether they'd be a good fit to come on as a partner. The partners then get to go on our website. We do social media marketing around them, and they also get to get in our booklets at our bigger events and things like that. So there's lots of kind of benefits around becoming a partner, and I'll talk about those a little bit later as well. The database. So we obviously have a very large database in our community. We use Salesforce, and the services team supports us on all of that. So everything that Suraj was just going through, they're all tools that we use to grow the event side of things. We write all of the copy, but then we use their team to actually send all of that copy out. So somebody buys a ticket, and then they get all the onboarding comms, and obviously all the sales comms as well. It goes through GeniusU and Salesforce. Social. So Suraj has just gone through some of the social activities that we do. What we've done over the last year, because we have grown quite quickly, is that we have been pushing out fairly templated ads worldwide. That's something now going into next year that we will be changing. We have obviously people in South Africa use their social media and use their social media channels in a different way to, let's say, in Australia. So last year it was kind of like we had to get it out. Next year, going to refine the strategy around that. But on the couple of results there from this year, total cost that we spent on social media was 45 grand. Total ticket sales we got through was 615. And then our cost per acquisition was only 73. And total revenue that made, drum roll, was 516 grand, which is pretty cool. All right, our websites. Now all of our websites also get built through GeniusU and the services team. In order to grow so quickly and in order to actually build 26 landing pages in a year, plus actually 5 in different languages, they did actually follow a templated form. Now, as Suraj was saying, we do sort of do small manipulations throughout the year, depending on what Hotjar shows us and things like that. But there's we got the formula fairly strong early on, and so we've kind of stuck with that. We're rolling that out for our US events, which are on in January, and then next year we'll refine again. Ticketing. So obviously all of our ticketing is through GeniusU, which is fantastic. And now we've got this new event details page, and we've got the discussions, and we've got the welcome page. There's so many different elements that we can use now with regards to getting people involved and buying tickets on GeniusU. The whole process is actually super easy to set up. Who's running events right now on GeniusU? Fab. Awesome, awesome. So the whole process of actually setting up your event on GeniusU is a really simple process. There's was the information, like little question marks, I can see it, that are on every single step of the process, which makes it easy. And plus, what everyone gets is a really nice, clean and clear and easy ticketing system out of that. And then as Suraj was showing, when people do get to the events, we can scan them all in and process it that way, which is great. And what that means going forward is that that I can look at all of the results of who's attended the event, but also what it means is that pre-event, I can see exactly who's turned up in the room and exactly who's done their Worth Dynamics profiling test, which is really fantastic because that can actually lead your content through the day as well. And you can decide whether to be more blazy or whether to be a little bit more steel energy. So, how do I work my way out of my job? Look, you can't run events without an awesome team and without awesome people around you. So, at the beginning of this year, well, when I first started last year, there was just me and one other person. And then at the beginning of this year, I realised that in actual fact, in order to run events globally, is to split the team up so it's more geographically based. What I ended up getting to is 2 logistics managers, so one on the APAC region and one on the EMEA region. Got 2 community managers, but I was actually doing all of the marketing still and sort of overseeing the marketing along with working with GeniusU, and then had a couple of part-time supports. really kind of wanted to focus on, I guess, this triangle of logistics, marketing / project management, and community. Didn't quite get there last year. Next year I will. So next year what we're doing is breaking it down more by geographical region. So our US team, there's our US team up there, super cool chicks. And then basically creating that quadrangle different per different region. So in January we're in the US, February we swing around to South Africa again, March we swing to New Zealand, April we come to Australia, May we're over in Europe, and really just creating that team that takes a full ownership over the success of the event. Because otherwise, as you know, when you're running the event, you feel all the pressure on you to make sure that the event's a success. And it's so good to sort of bring a team together and that they feel that pressure and that drive to make the event a success as well. So a couple of new event structures that we brought into play this year in order to grow. We rebranded our Fast Forward Summit to the Global Entrepreneur Summit series. And now it's called, the New Zealand Entrepreneur Summit, the Australian Entrepreneur Summit, the African Entrepreneur Summit, and the European Entrepreneur Summit. Now that there's Brexit, I don't know if we're going to keep the European Entrepreneur Summit. What? We might have to have like a UK one and a European one. What? Anyway, we'll figure that out next year. But something that I guess Brexit. If we Brexit. One thing that we're definitely going to move into next year with our summits, and just to keep in mind, because it's really cool to bring our online community into this offline space, is we're going to start bringing some super cool speakers. So we've already got super cool speakers, and we're really going to up that level. So I'm really excited to share with you, which I'm not going to today because it's a surprise, some of the speakers that we've got on board for next year. We also launched a new event series called Exponential Entrepreneur, which is a 2-day event. It's really fun. Everyone breaks out into tables like this. A table will come together and think about a business that they can grow exponentially. So if you think of an Airbnb or an Uber, the table will come up with that idea, and then they'll all compete throughout the weekend as to who can create an idea that would turn into the next Uber. And then obviously off the back of that is you take those ideas back to your business and incorporate them into your business. We're running those in 4 locations next year. I am super excited about Vegas because, I must admit, I like Vegas. Vegas. And, right, what's this one? Entrepreneur Fast Track. Okay, so one of the ways what did we do this? We did this in December in 2017, and this is the first time we ran it, was a 1-day event as opposed to our 4-day event series that we were running back then. It's a really fast and impactful day. Goes through the impact meter, which you guys have seen. And we sold it really as a morning workshop, but in actual fact, it actually goes all day. So there's a bonus session straight after lunch, which works in some places and doesn't quite work so well in the other places. So we're just going to tweak that a little bit going into 2018. But what it's also allowed us to do is work with event hosts. So it means an event host can come on board and actually run one of these events themselves. Rose, I'd love to hear from you. So Rose, earlier this year, ran an event in Lake Tahoe, which we all went to. Roger went to, and then, Kathleen, you were there too. Oh my God.
And Luke.
Luke was there. It was a big family affair. And I'd love to hear from you, I guess, just your experience leading into the event, first part, and then second part, some of the cool stuff that's come out of running the Entrepreneur Fast Track.
Well, what I started with was...
Stand up.
What I started with was being a city leader, first off, and developing a promotion plan at iLab. And then working with Michelle in the acceleration program to figure out how we're going to have these Entrepreneur Socials monthly build up to the Fast Track in August. And so going in, I'm that person where you just keep going. You just keep going, and then, here you are. And so when the event actually was starting to get closer and closer, and we were building the websites and doing all of that, then came a little bit of the pressure, like, oh, okay, let's get these people in there. And so, but the experience as a whole was just an amazing experience. And, you know, I am an event planner, and so I do events a lot. Putting people into these seats was like, where are we getting these people from? Not all from Tahoe, so we started really looking out to our partners, and I was grabbing partners that were in other areas so we can get other people coming from out of the area into our fast track. And so I think overall, the people that were there, the numbers weren't what they were normally in different cities up to that point, but I think the people that were there for a purpose, and we had a really great turnout. We had a lot of conversion. So I think overall, the experience of being a host was beautiful. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot from Jess. I learned from Marilise, who's logistics, who is amazing. The run sheets that they put together, I've done run sheets all day long, but their run sheets are amazing. Like down to what toothpick are you going to use to take the food out of your teeth? I mean, seriously, so detailed, and I learned so much. So thank you.
Oh, that's super cool. And because you're a star profile, it was like, detail, what the hell? Yeah. So the other kind of, I guess, part of working with us and running events with us is coming on board as a master trainer. We've just run our master trainer workshop over the last few days, and Donna's actually going to give you a bit more of a spiel around the master trainer side tomorrow, so I won't step too much on those toes, and I'll leave that up to that. One of the things that we do, as Rose said, is we get right down to detail. So in order to get, I guess, go from like a $4 million events business to a $6 million events business, it all comes down to your budgeting and your processes and your templates. Events is detail, and that's just what events are, right? So all of these budgets we put together, and we sit down and we go through with the event hosts, and we work out, I guess, what our costs are, what the event costs are, what the event host costs are, and really keep track of all of that, and really keep that budget super tight. This is just an example of our expenses sheet that we go through, and you can sort of see the detail that's part of this, from the venue to the catering to the AV and technical, but going through really line item by line item. And not only, don't forget, it's not just in one currency, it's in like 12 currencies around the world. So you've got to be really super careful around that, and also take into account the conversions back and forth from currency to currency. So here's Lake Tahoe, actually. So normally with an Entrepreneur Fast Track, we would go for 200 people in the room. We go for 200 people in the room with revenue of around 200K off the back of that. Lake Tahoe got 57 in the room. It was a smaller event. It is in the mountains, but we made 3,400 per person, and with a revenue of just under 200 grand. So just bang on budget, really. It was a super cool event. Logistics. So all of our templates and processes, as I said. So we go really down to the granular. It's so granular you can't even see it. That's how granular it is. But right down to sort of the venue requirements and I guess how we run our events to our standards, and then we impart that knowledge onto you so that you can also be running the events to that same standard. We have lots of weird and wonderful intricacies that we follow in order to make sure that attendees have the best time possible. I'm going to jump that because that is like too detailed. I can't see that. But so we, about 5 to 7 days before every event, we do a crew briefing. So we normally get on a specific number of crew per event, and we run this webinar, and we do like a full kind of training, 2-hour training of our crew prior to each event. And they're all different crew, right? Because we run these events all around the world. It's not like you're at the same venue every week. So we go right down to the granular with our crew briefing as well as our Genius Igniter briefing. But I like one of the things that we go into is mic running, which I always think is quite amusing, that you have to teach people how to run mics. But you'd be surprised because they just don't, right? The amount of times I've seen Roger up on stage at the front and like you've got this like mic runner that's like like a snail walking across the back of the... So we actually do like a whole 15 minutes on how to run mics and practice it and how to bend down in front of people and stuff. This is our venue requirement sheet, so specifically around sort of what venues to choose. So, how can Genius Group help you grow your events? Before I jump into that, one of the really cool things around GeniusU at the moment, and one of the ways that we'll be working with our event hosts and our partners going forward is providing all of these templates and videos and putting a micro degree on and things around how you can best streamline your event processes within your business, which is kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool because it's taken us like a year to get these things super awesome, and now we get to share them with everyone, which is great. So, opportunities. Firstly, just become an event partner. Just come on board and come part of the journey. You can buy a pack of 10 or like a pack of 100. Some of our US partners are buying 100 tickets, and then they're either on-selling them or they're gifting them away to their community. One of the cool things around that is there is an opportunity to receive that 10% commission, like Roger was saying. All the stuff that goes through GeniusU is 10% commission. The second way is obviously there's a lot more financial responsibility and there's a lot more skin in the game. And that's to come on board as an event host or as city leader. So an event host is, I guess, kind of the top pillar, the second top pillar behind Master Trainer. And then we've got our entrepreneur social leaders. So the opportunities around that is to receive around 20 to 30% in commission sales off that. Just a couple of things I guess I just wanted to share with you around becoming an event host, and before kind of putting your hand up if you're super keen, is there's definitely some criteria, because it's not for the faint-hearted. So some of that criteria includes, and in no kind of, this is like a firm, hard and fast rule or anything, but it definitely experience running events and filling a room is going to support you if you want Roger to go and stand at one of your events. Be willing to crew and or GI at one of our events. I think it's such a great experience being just part of this community and part of the team, and actually being sort of on our side of the fence when at events really gives you like an insight into not only how to better your events, but also be an awesome event host for the Entrepreneur Fast Track series. Have a team to support you. It is difficult putting on an event when you're solo, and especially if if you think about it, if you're really blazy and you love getting out there and networking and bringing new people to your events, it's quite hard to kind of get your head jump back into the real detail that events deserve. Or if you're the other way around, if you like being in the detail and just kind of plugging your way in the background, it is actually hard to put yourself out there and pull those people to your events. So getting that kind of cross team is really important. Having run a minimum of 4 entrepreneur socials with 50 people in the room, not a requirement. It'd be super cool, right? And having a database as well, not a requirement once again, but it definitely makes life a lot easier when you do have a base of people that you can go out to and that are really connected in with you and in with your message and in with our message. And then lastly is to become a master trainer. So, and that's running your own events, either under the Wealth Dynamics brand. So yeah, I think that's me.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Jess. Stay here. That's pretty cool, right? So.